and I'm excited because he's going to talk intermittent fasting. I love it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd like to introduce Christian Bashir. He's my mentor. He's the guy that I really, in the book, I think I even shared that first chapter with you, Christian, in how I kind of went through that phase. I was just getting overweight. I just wasn't feeling good, and him and I've been friends for a while, and just mentioned how he's been fasting, and I started researching and kind of pinging off of him, and next thing you know, I've down 60 pounds. So, yeah, Christian, thanks for joining us today.
Pleasure to be a part of this, and definitely an honor. And mentor is a big word, but yeah, this was just off of basic research. Whenever I went through my own journey about 4.5 years ago myself, so I'm glad that that's made that kind of impact on other people's lives.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I was gonna say, so 4.5 years, I'm 18 months in, a year and a half. I feel great. I know I'm going to keep going with it. Do you see yourself changing or making any modifications with your fasting, or what's your lifestyle like after 4.5 years?
I think the biggest modification that I've done, well, for the first part is I don't see myself changing. So I follow OMAD, the one meal a day. And I know there's two or three fasting schedules that most people kind of feel like are the norm or the more common ones that have studies behind them. I like OMAD from a logistical perspective, just having to worry about eating one time a day. And once the body adjusts to it, it's just it made a lot of sense. And even from a cost perspective, and even though I have to get all my caloric intake in one meal, it's actually you kind of get used to it. But so I don't plan on changing that. I can be flexible, especially whenever there's holidays like Thanksgiving, where you have a Thanksgiving lunch or Christmas lunches, right? So I don't mind breaking my fast earlier than usual, which is usually in the evenings. But the biggest change that it's more something that I've supplemented it with is some extended fasting. So I'll do 48 hours or 72-hour fast once or twice, usually twice a month. I actually used to keep it to a pretty strict schedule. I would be doing it on the 1st and the 15th. So right in the middle of the month and right around the beginning of or early on. But that helped quite a bit with other components outside of just weight loss. Autophagy being one of the biggest ones, resets your whole body. Gut health, and anytime you do have like a really bad cheat day, maybe the day after Thanksgiving, kind of taking a 48-hour fast kind of resets that body, especially if you're putting in a lot of carbs in your body.
I've tried OMAD and it's tough. I've done it. It's very difficult, and people are saying that one is not as safe as doing doing the other intermittent fasting, the 16-hour, 18-hour deal.
Yeah, the safety thing comes in. A lot of people talk about it because of blood sugars. They say sometimes it's difficult because of the negative symptoms that are associated with intermittent fasting. So fatigue, headaches. Sometimes some people, if they're working out, they have a concern on a loss of muscle gain. I think I don't think there's a right answer for everybody. So if OMAD is difficult for you, right, and you want to have a much more extended eating window, I think that's okay as well. But I was fortunate enough that I transitioned into OMAD within about a week and a half to 2 weeks, and ever since then, I don't have hunger pains unless I don't know. There's very special circumstances, but if I decided to not eat today for whatever reason, I can easily just skip a day, or I usually don't get hungry during the midday unless like I said, I'm smelling something really amazing, but that's pretty rare.
Yeah, I could
Wow.
definitely see that because I take my wife door dashing after work, and by then I'm already a couple hours into my fast, and I smell every single restaurant that she goes into. She puts the hot meals in the car, and I'm like, that smells good. And I block it out and I just keep going. And it's never really stopped me where I was like, I need to get pizza when I get home. Never
Yeah.
happened.
Neil, what made it so hard to follow OMAD?
No, so I mean, I did it sometimes, and
Okay.
sometimes I wouldn't have to eat. Then I got in testosterone replacement therapy, and it was so difficult to ever. There's no way,
Oh, yeah.
and it makes you hungry. beyond belief. And then I've finally gone back to intermittent fasting because Pat got me back motivated to do it, because I've lost weight before. I've used a couple other products that help in that process, to be able to do it. And I've done it where just fasting till dinner time at times, and had a breakfast and a dinner. But now 16 hours, 18 is not difficult, because I've done 20, 21 sometimes, depending on the kind of day. And then, oh my gosh, it's 7:00, and I got up at whatever time, and I've been fasting the whole time through. But with the differences, when you're on the testosterone replacement therapy, you're just so hungry, and you do get almost crashes. But I figured out with the 16 hours, it just works fine. And I break the fast for a second, to have a couple of little things, and then wait till dinner.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things that I like to tell people that are new to it is, if you can start with at least minimizing your snacking, and keep to major meals. If you have a 16-hour window, even if you have a 12-hour window, that's still considered intermittent fasting, right? Like, you have a lunch and a dinner in that 12 hours. That'll still do wonders for you. The other thing too, and I guess part to answer, now that I kind of thought about it, something else that I've been adjusting since in the 4.5 years that I've been doing this, is that I've been trying to switch to more of a carnivore or ketovore type diet. Beyond the health benefits, it has more of a satiating effect. So you can get your calories a little bit easier, and then you're satiated. So you're not craving more food after you eat something. So I don't know, maybe that might help, kind of, it definitely complements a intermittent fasting schedule if you're trying to reduce carbs and get more proteins and healthy fats in there.
The carnivore diet, as I heard from Dave Asprey, it says just straight carnivore, you only can do it for a certain amount of time. I think
it's so strict. Yeah. That's why I said ketovore, because carnivore is extremely strict. Like, a lot of people don't consider dairy part of the carnivore, right? They don't like nuts, seeds, fruits. Basically, it's just like protein, right? Chicken, fish, beef, pork, eggs, butter, beef tallow, and that's really about it. Salt and pepper, right? Spices, but yeah.
Yeah, I've been getting a lot of that on my feed lately, and I've been looking more into carnivore dieting. Of course, I'd have to take it after the holidays, and of course, they're like, when you go to Costco, this is what you buy. All right, well, I'm part of Sam's Club. I already know what I need to buy, and I can definitely see that. I can make my eggs in the morning. I work out of the office 4 days a week, so I have to kind of meal prep. But if I scramble some eggs ahead of time, portion them up nicely, have ground beef. I think that I might do that for a couple weeks just to see how that fits my body. And because I do have a little bit of weight around got that, the love handles and stuff I'm trying to get rid of. And I'm doing some exercises. But yeah, that's my goal. And I know, like I said, looking at the past years, I'm still lower at this time because the holidays really do affect me quite adversely. So I know that I'll get back into it in January, February, and I'll start diving. So, like I said, last year this time I was heavier, and I was already, fasting for 6 months of that time, feeling great, dropping a lot of weight. Now I have that confidence that I'll be able to drop it. And of course, hey, I love meat. I love steak. I'll take it, no problem. Salmon, shrimp. I'm all in. I'm going to try it.
Yeah. That's good.
And when you start getting into it, it's just getting easier and easier every day. And you're like, okay, now I can do this. And then you see the results, and certain foods you shouldn't eat that you were doing in the fast. And it just all depends on the metabolism, and it depends on specific things. And where
exactly.
Yeah. And how your metabolism is working. Once your metabolism starts rolling, who knows?
If once you start tweaking things, another thing to think about is what you break your fast with. There are some studies that show that if you break your fast with, like, let's say fried chicken, right, or chicken fried steak, something that's kind of greasy, it's got some carbs in it, you're actually going to not get as much benefit versus if you're going to break it with like a lean meat, like a salmon or even something a little bit lighter, like, some leafy greens or something. So, but that does impact the metabolism component as well, like you mentioned.
Interesting. So what do you break your fast with, Pat, most of the time?
I try a hard-boiled egg, any protein. I do like my peanut butter and jelly, so I'll have that on a carb-friendly tortilla. So I don't put it on bread. I make my PB&Js with a tortilla, but it's more the carb balance, just or the keto-friendly tortillas. And I look at protein when I break my fast. I don't want to get well, actually, I do eat a lot of omelets at work with mushroom, spinach, sausage. So there's my protein section. But you do want to break that fast with protein. That's what I've been looking at as well. And Christian, kind of years ago, he pointed me into the direction of Dr. Berg. And that's really where I've watched a lot of his videos. And even, in the beginning, like I said, him and I spoke. But what really, kind of pushed me over the edge was a podcast that was talking about intermittent fasting being bad for your cardiac health. And I was like, that doesn't sound right. And of course, the podcaster was echoing the same sentiments I had was that there's something goofy with that. It's of course it's got to be good for your cardiac health. We've been doing it for eons. So what was the difference? And then that's when I called Christian and he's like, hey, check out Dr. Berg. And I got into his videos. And of course, he had a video right there debunking the that study, or it wasn't even a study, it was a presentation to the American Heart Institute about the effects of intermittent fasting on your cardiac health. So I definitely knew it wasn't correct. And I went on to say, I won't prove them wrong. I have nothing wrong with my heart, so I feel good.
Yeah, it wasn't even peer reviewed, and the author of that has also came out with a study that also got debunked, telling people that meat is bad for you. So, like, I mean,
yeah,
take with that what you will, right? Like, goes against both of the tenets of what we're talking about right now.
So your last meal of the day, your only meal of the day, what do you usually have
Pat?
for your meal? Your meal.
Oh, for me? I do a lot of chicken. I do a lot of nuts and seeds, healthy fats, a lot of eggs. I mix in some greens, like broccoli, like leafy greens. I do broccoli. Obviously, sometimes I do salads. The problem with salads, though, is because it's OMAD, it's hard to meet my caloric intake with salads, right? You'd have to eat a lot of salad and you'd be eating quite a bit. I still sprinkle in carbs, so sometimes I'll have a rice or tortillas. I'm not so strict right now that I'm not measuring my macros. If I had to put a number on it, I aim between 25 and 50 grams of carbs a day. Sometimes I go over, sometimes I'm under, but I'm pretty well maintained in terms of my weight. It hasn't fluctuated too much. The only fluctuation is due to muscle gain. I'm trying to put on some muscle, and that's just more of something on me where I need to increase both my protein and the weights that I'm leveraging for that.
How many calories a day do you eat?
Between 23 and 2,400.
How about you, Pat?
I'm probably a little more than that. And of course, I don't really keep it. I used to keep track of it more, and I used to try to stay under 2,000. But in general, like I said, when I get to work, I have my omelet. It's one of those things. And then I do, at that time, I remember not so much OMAD. When I do travel, let's say down to Florida, I will have that one meal a day. And then it's better because whenever I travel, I generally increase my weight, but I know just eating one meal, but a really big meal, it's a lot of seafood, especially down in Florida. You have to eat seafood.
Interesting. But you're at 2,400 calories, so that's in one meal. That's crazy.
Yeah. I can put down a lot of food. I'm small. I'm 5'7" and 150 pounds soaking wet. So, but whenever I go to restaurants or go out with friends or whoever, I'm usually ordering like 2 entrees and then finishing up everybody else's food. So, yeah,
I've seen it.
it
It's
surprises
impressive.
people. Yeah.
Well, if you're
It's
only eating
good
that,
too.
when you're doing that, the Ahmad, it's really because I think when we break our fast for 16, we want to eat so much and then we're not hungry at dinner and then we get hungry again. So
Mhm.
that's the biggest challenge where I like Ahmad in that way. I just can't with just the way. If I probably going on the road, I might try that. Do you recommend going from 16 to Ahmad sometimes? Like depending on the time, would that mess things up at all? Have you seen where you flip it up sometimes and say, "Oh, just what the heck? I'm just not going to eat till dinner."
Yeah, because really with 16, it's you have a lot of open window there. And if you're just trying to get one meal, it doesn't really make sense. So with those shorter windows of your shorter eating windows, that's best for OMAD because you have to be able to just take in as much as you can within 2 to 4 hours. Compared if you open it up to six, that leads you to more snacking, where you might have like a banana in the beginning, egg, what have you, and then just snack throughout the day, and then you have your one big meal. So I wouldn't really consider that too much of a OMAD focus.
There is and I don't know if I could speak to it very well, but there is a component of introducing stress to your body and not maintaining such as consistency. So if you're switching between OMAD and 16-8 and maybe a full day of eating and then a 48-hour fast, there are some studies that show that puts a little bit of good stress on your body, not bad stress. So that way your body doesn't necessarily get used to a particular pattern. So for like if you think of dieting, for example, this is a pretty simple concept. Let's say you're overweight and your daily caloric intake is 2,500 calories. The old dieting process was eat less, right? So then you bring it down to 2,400 calories, you lose a few pounds, but your body's going to adjust to that and say, okay, I can work off of 2,400 calories and I can function perfectly off of 2,400 calories. So then you put your weight back on, you go back to the doctor and the doctor's like, oh, you need to, lower it some more. So then you go down to 2,300. And then 22, and then it gets to a number that's not even sustainable because your body knows how to adjust. So kind of mixing it up might be a good thing. Like if you don't want to follow OMAD all the time, just throw it in once a week, twice a week. That might be a good thing.
Okay. Just see how it goes. The more my stomach shrinks, because I'm 6'10". Now I'm down to drum roll 292.
Yeah.
292,
Whoa.
but I don't have much fat on me. It's 292 still.
There you go.
But yeah.
Wow,
All right.
that's
Nice.
crazy, man. That's super tall. So,
Yeah, but I mean, I have a athlete's build, but I don't want to weigh this much at 50. Going to be 53 in January, so I said, I want to be about 270 again. The testosterone replacement therapy just ballooned me because I kept eating, and now I'm getting into this structure, and I'm like, I feel good. It's good. I'll keep going this route, and it makes it easier in my work schedule and everything to do the intermittent fasting, and it's not a big deal. And it's like, 16 hours, don't even feel like it anymore. Okay, let's go.
Yeah. And there's a term that Christian just brought up that I was like, ooh, it really kind of made me question my being there, Christian. When you mentioned full day eating, what is that? What is full day eating? I don't understand. Does that really stress you? I mean, it stresses me out if I have to eat the whole day. It's been a long time since I've ate the entire day. I think it's probably well, no, it's been 18 months. How about that?
yeah.
But yeah, I thought about, like when you go on a cruise, okay, fine, I will eat all day, but it's been over 2 years since I've been on a cruise. I would love to go again, and that would definitely stress me out thinking I got to get up and have breakfast. And then I have
Now,
to
I
have
believe you
lunch.
wouldn't. I don't believe you would gain weight either. I
Yeah.
believe that your metabolism gets to this point where it just once it kicks back on. And Christian, you agree? It's like I'll probably eat whatever I want to eat, and I won't gain weight after I get back down to the 270 route. That's usually what happens. You got to really kind of trigger it and some bad habits to get that weight back again. I think once you hit a certain point, then you can increase calories. You're good. It's no big deal. It's getting over that hump to get your body used to what it's happening, and then it kind of does its thing.
Exactly. So as your body adjusts, you have something called insulin sensitivity, and basically, that's basically what we think of in the more layman's terms of your metabolism. Because as you have become more insulin sensitive, you're able to process carbs and things that turn into fat a lot easier. And so even if you whenever I go to Mexico to one of those all inclusives, I go crazy, man. I eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, pretty much like in all day. And I mean, I'll put on a few pounds, but I come after a week, I might put on like 5, 6 pounds, which for somebody my size, that's a decent amount. But after a week or 2 weeks getting back in OMAD, I just shed it immediately without even doing anything crazy.
Got it.
Yeah, I agree. I'm the same way. I go on vacation, I'll bump it up 5 pounds. And as soon as I'm back, that 5 pounds is off. And usually it's under a week because you just snap right back into your routine. Metabolism kicks in and you go right back down to losing weight.
Okay. All right. So anything else, Pat, anything else in this question as we keep getting all this good material for your book?
No, I think I'm good. I'd say the one of my next interviews, I think I might just have an interview with her one-on-one. It's one of my friends from the Broncos. She's been fasting for about 2 years now, and she's always said she doesn't need to really fast to maintain her weight. She's just really doing it for her health benefits, and she keeps a really steady weight. She's always been pretty slender, anyways, but she's like, if I didn't fast, she'd probably be like 20 pounds heavier, which she probably wouldn't even show it. But it was something that, she's just been doing for a while. I need to get a hold of her and, because I need to understand. And that was a comment I always hear from women is that, like when I come back from vacations, I go right back to fasting, I drop the weight and I start losing again. A lot of women are like, what, how do you do that? I can't do that. And because I think with their metabolism is set up a little different, and that's part of like that next part of the book that I need to write is the effects on women. I know there's a book out there that's has fasting specifically for women. Great. But I'm going to get her story just so I can
Oh, great.
interject that.
Okay. All right. Best place to find info on you, Pat?
Underweightbooks.com. That's always the best. I'm Amazon, Barnes and Nobles. I'm everywhere. But then, we're going to get this next one out in the next couple months. I'm still working on it. I'll probably write afterwards even. How about that? But of
Okay.
course, I had a grandkid yesterday, so
Well, congrats.
or was it yesterday? It was 2 days ago.
2
It
days
was
ago.
Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday. So
Hi.
yeah, the kid was born and he's already he's a big dude. How about that?
All right. That's fantastic. And Christian, best place to find info on you?
You could just find my name on LinkedIn if you want to connect and talk shop on fasting or even technology. I'm more than happy to do it.
I appreciate it. Okay. You're listening and watching The Neil Haley Show. We'll be back.